this? Maybe that's what it was. They were on the phone making the pick, and in the background someone's yelling at him, and he's all, "Hey man, I got this," and then the commissioner, whoever was on the phone, whoever takes the pictures, like, "Okay, got this, it is, bye," and just hung up and was like, "Wait." I don't know. Anyway, moving on to the Chiefs. They didn't pick and make their first pick until round two, just like New England. They selected Chris Jones, defensive tackle out of Mississippi State. That's a decent pick for him. Not great, but decent. Round three, Kavari Russell, corner slash safety from Notre Dame. That's a very good pick. Round four, Parker Anger, guard. Also, Eric Murray, cornerback from Minnesota, who I interviewed a few weeks ago on VikingsDigitalDiaries.com as well. Very good pick like that, but a lot of secondary here for the Chiefs, who's already got a good secondary. But whatever. Then we had in round four, you had Demarcus Robinson, wide receiver. Then in round five, Kevin Hogan, quarterback, and Tyreek Hill, running back. And in round six, DJ White, cornerback, another cornerback, and Dottie Loam Nicholas, outside linebacker. Chiefs, though, draft overall, there's stuff I like, and there's stuff that scratches my head. So I give them a C plus, just a little bit better than average or barely passable. And then we've got the Oakland Raiders, way reaching for safety Carl Joseph in round one at pick 14. Then taking two areas of no need whatsoever in rounds 2 and 3, defensive end Jihad Ward and Shaliquay Calhoun, something like that. Defensive ends from Illinois and Michigan State, respectively. They needed inside linebackers and defensive tackles, not outside linebackers or defensive ends. Morons. They needed corners as well. Round 4, they made a trade for a quarterback because they don't have a young stud quarterback who's heading into year 3 of his career and has already made Pro Bowl. So they took Connor Cook, quarterback from Michigan State. Oh my gosh. Round 5, DeAndre Washington, running back. Round 6, Corey James, outside linebacker. Round 7, finally a good pick, guard Vidal Alexander. Raiders being the Raiders, they get a D. Even without Al Davis, they're still morons. And then finally, the San Diego Chargers, the team who kicked it all off at pick 3, ruining my mock draft by taking Joey Bosa, defensive end, third. Then in the second round, they took tight end Hunter Henry. I like that to replace Ladarius Green. And Antonio Gates only has another year or two left in him. Round 3, center Max Tuerk. That's not a bad pick out of USC. Round 4, inside linebacker Joshua Perry out of Ohio State. Very good pick. Round 5, Jatavis Brown, inside linebacker out of Akron. They run a 3-4. You need 2 inside linebackers. Another great pick. Round 6, Drew Kaiser, punter. And also in round 6, Derek Watt, fullback. And then finally in round 7, Donovan Clark, guard. Overall, I like San Diego's draft for the most part. I don't like the Bosa pick, and then their last 3, 6 through 7. But what are you expecting there anyway? I mean, I'm cool with the punter and the fullback actually. So actually, I'm cool with their entire draft except for that round 1 pick. Should have been Buckner. If they were to pick Buckner over Bosa, they'd have an A, probably an A plus. But instead, they get a solid B. Yeah. That Bosa might work out, though. Yes, sticking to the B. All right, so that's it for all the grades. Let's recap quick the best of the best. The top 5 best in order. Number 1, Cincinnati Bengals. Number 2, Baltimore Ravens. Number 3, the Detroit Lions. Number 4, the Cleveland Browns. And number 5, my and possibly your Minnesota Vikings. And your 5 worst in order of the absolute worst to, the 5th least worst of the worst. We start with the Carolina Panthers, who registered a solid D minus. Then in a 4-way tie for second, you gotta love 4-ways. We've got the Dallas Cowboys with a D, the Oakland Raiders with a D, the LA Rams with a D. And that's only a 3-way tie. Look at that. Hey, 3-ways are good too. And then rounding out the top 5 with the 5th worst draft this year, the Arizona Cardinals. Holy guacamole, balls on fire is out. And we are super quickying the last 10-ish minutes of the show through the rest of the topics. All right. So hope you like football. Thanks for sticking with us. And yeah, we'll lightning quickie through everything else here that we got. And we'll start off here with baseball, my and possibly your Minnesota Twins, because that's a pretty easy topic to talk on here in Minnesota this season. They suck really bad. One of the, if not the worst team in all of baseball. Thank goodness for the Atlanta Braves, who have managed to lose one more game than the Minnesota Twins, or the Twins would be the worst team in all of baseball at 8-20. Ugh, only the Braves are worse at 7-20. And then hanging in there, which this should make it just everybody feel good about life in general. The New York Yankees, third worst team in all of baseball, at 9-17. So that's good at least. You know, we can take some comfort in that. But the Twins, pretty sure they are fresh off getting swept in Houston by the Astros. Had a rare day off here today on Thursday, I believe, but now back at it on Friday on the road against the division rival White Sox, who are actually leading the AL Central in the entire American League, as a matter of fact, with a 19-10 record. And there are only two teams in all of baseball with a better record than that: the Nationals at 19-9, Cubs at 21-6, best in all of baseball. So don't look for things to get any easier for the Minnesota Twins. I believe they've only won 2 games all season on the road, 2 of their 8 wins. It is atrocious. We've got Alex Meyer called up now, making starting pitching appearances, looking awful, getting rocked, and 16-4 efforts like last night. Barrios is up now. That's actually, there's signs of encouragement there. He looks like he is the real deal and's got awesome stuff, but he is still understandably wild and inconsistent in location, and some stamina issues, I think, as well, and just approach to batters possibly from time to time. But for what he's given up in runs and homers and things like that, and walks here and there, he's making up for with 8 strikeouts here and 10 strikeouts there, stuff like that. So some little encouragement there. Not minding that one bit. And there is good Twins news to be had. Our new DH, Bunghole Park, has hit 7 home runs now this season. Appears to be the real deal. So we like that. Arcia has done good at the plate. Joe Mauer is hitting over 300 on the season again. Nunez has been playing extremely well. So there's positives on this team, but there's a lot of negatives on this team too, and a lot of not winning, which is never any fun for anybody. But let's finish looking at those standings quick. Rest of the Central is as follows: Indians 13-12, Royals 14-13, Tigers 14-13. In the East of the AL, Red Sox 17-11, Orioles 16-11, nice race there. Blue Jays 15-15, Rays 12-14, Yankees stink. And then out in the West, we got the Mariners at 17-11. That's awesome. With the Rangers at 15-14, the Angels of Anaheim 13-15, Athletics 13-16, and the Astros 10-19. Yikes. Out in the National League, in the East, Nationals are 19-9 in first place there. 1.5 games back are the Mets, 17-10. They're doing good too. My Marlins, 15-12. Gotta love that. Went out on a limb on them this year. The Phillies, shockingly, at 16-13, and the Braves at 7-20. In the Central, Cubs 21-6, Pirates 15-13, Cardinals 15-14, Reds 12-17, Brewers 11-17. That division looks exactly as I had it penned. Like, exactly. That's awesome. Thank you. And finally, out in the NL West, Giants in first place, as predicted, just there. This one looks exactly too. 15-14, closely followed by the Dodgers at 14-14, Rockies at 13-14, Padres at 12-17, you and the D-backs at 12-18. Boom, there's your Major League Baseball quickie. All right, now quickying on over to Balls Dribble, where we'll talk some NBA playoff pictures. We've currently got the Golden State Warriors with a 2-0 advantage over the Portland Trail Blazers, who knocked off the very injured Los Angeles Clippers, who we were expecting to play the Golden State Warriors last time we talked. Portland, though, good for Portland. Curry's still out on that series. That's really the only story there. Also, out in the West, we've got the Spurs tied up with the Oklahoma City Thunder at 1 game apiece. The Spurs blew them out by over 30 points in Game 1, then came back and lost by 1 point with some very questionable reffing in Game 2. That series is shaping up to be great as we expected. And then out East, we've got the 1-seed Cleveland Cavaliers cruising 2-0 past the no chance in hell Atlanta Hawks. And the 2-seed Toronto Raptors tied 1 game apiece with the 3-seed Miami Heat. So the 2 and 3 seeds competitive there. The 1 matchups not so much, as we expect. Final first round summaries. Cleveland beat Detroit in 4, swept them. Atlanta beat Boston in 6. Miami beat the Hornets in 7. Toronto beat the Pacers in 7. Pacers fired their head coach now as a result of that. Out West, Golden State beat the Rockets in 5. Portland beat the Clippers in 6. Thunder beat the Mavs in 5. And the Spurs swept the Grizzlies. Boom. Balls dribbled. Done. Alright, so we swing it on over to Balls on Ice to check in on our hockey playoffs in the NHL, where we are in round 2. And in the West, we've got the Dallas Stars tied up at 2 games apiece with the St. Louis Blues. The next game is on Saturday at 1 p.m. We've also got the San Jose Sharks up 2-1 on the Nashville Predators. That most recent game was tonight as I'm recording this, so either the Sharks are up 3-1 or the Predators tied it up here. And then out East... Well, by the way, I have no idea, Stars or Blues. I don't know. I have no idea who's winning that one. Sharks and Predators, I've definitely felt Sharks the whole time. But boy, I feel like the winner's coming out of the East no matter who comes out of the West this year. On the East, we've got the Capitals down, the number 1 seed, being themselves here in the playoffs as they always are. They had almost 120 points at the end of this season. But alas, they are trailing 3-1 to the red-hot Pittsburgh Penguins, who came into these playoffs red-hot. And the next and possibly final game is Saturday night. And then we've also got the New York Islanders down 2-1 against the Tampa Bay Lightning. That next game is Friday night at 7 o'clock. Man, I can't believe the Cav. Well, I can believe the Capitals because they're the Capitals. This is what they do. So yeah, there's your hockey catch-up. Meanwhile, here in the state of hockey in Minnesota, as far as I know, we're still looking for a head coach. I hear John Torchetti's name come up now more often than it was at the beginning. I can't help but think that that's because some of the other bigger outside names that we were interested in aren't interested in us. Oh no, how could that? Yeah, no, I'm getting that feeling. And while that bodes well for my man John Torchetti, who I've wanted all along to get a full trial year with the interim tag taken off, if nothing else, next season, it's helping increase that possibility. But like I said, I don't think that's a good sign when you've got 3, 4, 5 big names on your list, similar to what the T-Wolves had, and none of those guys are coming back with any interest in the job. I think that does speak to my and several other hockey fans here in Minnesota's theories that the coaching element and responsibility for our shortcomings was present, but not. It's not everything, and it might not even be half of what the real problem is. I think these coaches are looking at this roster and the way it's put together with the contracts and the players and just going, I can't make this work. Nobody can make this work. Like, this is just stuck being a mediocre, sinking but not sinking ship for the next 5 to 10 years. Like, that's the way all the contracts are structured. You guys aren't going anywhere. You're going to be what you've been and what you are. and there's no amount of coaching that can change